Hi, Empress Justice here, and welcome to, let me adjust this. Welcome to a very special Aquarius Rahu and Leo Ketu reading for, hold on, Virgs. This is for Uttara Palguni, Hasta, and Chitra. How you doing, Virgo? Okay, so because this is a very special 18-month reading, today we're going to take it nice and easy. We're going to go nice and slow, give you all the juicy details, and we are going to go over as much as we can, okay? Now, the Aquarius Rahu and the Leo Ketu nodal axis is going to be taking place from a couple of days ago, which is the 29th of May 2025 to the 26th of November 2026, okay? So, with that in mind, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read your tarot cards first, and then I'm going to read your oracle cards, all right? So from your tarot cards, we have the Prince of Cups, which is the King of Cups. We have the Four of Wands. We have the Seven of Cups. And we have the Ace of Wands. So let's see what we can get from these four cards right here, okay? First of all, I need to tell you that you've got Cups and Wands here. When you combine them together, you get passion, you get destiny, you get creativity, okay? So I feel like those things are very much a feature of the next 18 months for you. So I feel like you're going to be very focused on your vocation. In general, you're going to be focused on what and who gives you passion. So passion is going to be a very, very big thing for you. But let's see how they work separately. So with the Cups energy, you've got the King of Cups, Prince of Cups in the Thoth Tarot, and you've got the Seven of Cups in the Illis Tarot. What I get from this is that there's mastery here. There's not only emotional mastery, but creative mastery. Normally, when you get the Prince of Cups and the Seven together, it means that there's some creative expertise of some sort. And I'm kind of surprised to get this emotionally because I didn't think that's where this was going to go. You feel that it feels like you've kind of grown into your power a little bit here, Virgo. It feels like you've grown into your power. It feels like you've emotionally turned a corner. And usually this means you're procrastinating. But no, what's happening is that you're taking the time to master your craft. That's what's happening here. And whilst everybody else is rushing ahead, trying to get everything done and, and trying to be the first ones out and trying to be like, just putting out uninspired crap, you're kind of going in the opposite direction. And everybody else is thinking, well, what is Virgo doing? Are they asleep or some shit? No, you're preparing. You're preparing. There's a phrase that I almost always use when it comes to things like this, and it comes from Kelly Rowland of Destiny's Child. When she was on the X Factor, and by the way, X Factor lost a quality judge in her, right? When Kelly Rowland was on X Factor, right? She used to say, she had this one saying that I have never forgotten, right? She said, you practice what you do 100 times. And then when you think you've got it perfect, you practice 100 more times. And that's exactly what a lot of Virgoans are doing. You are practicing 100 times, knowing Virgo 1,000 times. And then when you think you've got it really, really good and you've got it nailed, what are you doing? You're practicing 1,000 more times. That's what you're doing over the next 18 months. Instead of just putting things out or putting yourself out there in a way that makes people feel satisfied for the moment, you want to create something that's satisfying for life. You want to create things that people can always come back to, not just because it's easy, not just because of the dopamine reward. You want people to come back for the serotonin too. You want people to come back for it all. So you're taking the time to create something of worth, to create something of note. This could be a project that you're doing. It could be your side hustle. It could be your business. It could be your creative skill. Whatever it is, you are putting your heart, your soul, and your passion into this. You are not skimping on it. That's what's going on here. Okay. Now we get to the good stuff, because we've got the Ace of Wands and the Four of Wands. Yes, you are feeling that creative spark coming from within, but you've also got blessings and resources coming from the other side too. Truth be told, you might find that whatever comes into your mind first is likely to be manifested in record time. Now, there's this backlash against manifestation because of the Wizard Liz thing. Like, there's this backlash against manifestation, and and people are just really oversimplifying manifestation on both sides, right? But it's like, in your particular case, what's going on up here, especially if it's anything positive, it's going to manifest very, very quickly for you. And I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe for some of you, you might have been doing manifestation work. Maybe for others of you, you might have been riding an emotional high, or you might have been really mastering your emotions to such a level that your manifestations are fully in your control, right? But in either case, it's like, whenever you have a creative idea, it's immediately followed by, okay, so what about this? And it works. And then on top of that, you might think to yourself, I really want a coffee. Oh, okay. Bet. Do you know what I mean? Like, in record time, babes, record time. So you might be thinking, some of you might think, oh, I think I wanna love it tonight. I bet. You know what I mean? It's one of those things, Virgo, like, so be careful what your thoughts are, but also be aware that you're more likely to get the positive stuff that you think about than the negative. And that's not me being all Pollyanna-ish and being like, oh, you can get whatever you want. Like, no, objectively, positive things happen way more often than negative things. Like, one negative thing happened today. My neighbors were a nuisance. Big whoop, they usually are. But what other positive things happened today? I have breath in my lungs. In spite of the fact that I was coughing really wildly, I was still able to sing. I was still able to come on here and talk to you guys. I listened to some quality ass music today. Made me wonder how the hell D'Angelo does what he does. Like, it's like for one negative thing, there were like God knows how many other positive things that took place today. And that's a typical day, like, in the life of a TI, let alone the life of a normal person. A typical day in the life of a human being, unless you live in a war zone, unless you live somewhere where there really is like so much to be worried about, most likely there is going to be more positivity in your life than negative. Your thoughts are the same. Your thoughts are the same. You might have a negativity bias. Your emotions might lock in with the negative, but your thoughts are more likely to be positive than negative. That's the actual truth. It's just like anything in life. So this is why I say your thoughts will happen in record time, because like, in your most positive thoughts will happen in record time, because like, those are mostly the things that you're thinking about. You're mostly thinking about positive things. We have 60,000 thoughts a day, remember? It's just that when we think of negative things, we're thinking of our dominant thoughts because of the emotions attached to them. What we have to do in order to keep this train rolling is to make sure that we feel good as much as we can. Feeling good is a very underrated thing. All right. Now, let's get to your oracle cards. Okay. So we've got Beaver Tooth. All right. Number 46 from Between the Worlds. And then we have Queen Nefertiti, alchemy. So let's get to this first, because the numbers 4 and 6 equals 1. And 1 is a number of, it's a number of blazing a trail. So it really is about you going your own way, blazing a trail, doing what you need to do for yourself. That's what it's really about. And the way in which you are able to do this is through being more sociable, is through being, you know, like having a more positive attitude, which helps your manifestation, right? So it, you know, at the end of the day, it is a time period where you're being asked to be more self-focused, right? So yeah, 46. Be more self-focused, be willing to blaze a trail, be willing to do what other people are not doing. Be willing to do that. Okay. And then we've got Queen Nefertiti, alchemy. I have a feeling that there will be some negative circumstances over the next 18 months, but again, because of your manifestation, because of how quick that's working, yeah, like it's very likely that when things that are not ideal come along, you will find a way to turn it to your advantage. And the reason why this is so good in particular is because Ketu is in your 12th house at the moment. Your 12th house, this is the thing. The themes of the 12th house are right where you live. The 12th house is not just about loss or vulnerability or isolation, even though you love your alone time. Your Virgos, you love that shit. But also, it's about bed. It's about releasing your gifts onto the world. It's about like all the magical woo-woo stuff, like going to places that have spiritual significance. Don't let nothing fool you. Virgos are very, very spiritual people. And we, you know, not we, because I'm not a Virgo, but they're very spiritual people and they're very magical people. Do you understand what I'm saying? Virgos are magical people. They love that woo-woo stuff. They just don't tell anybody. Because, you know, the sixth house is our destiny. So, like, we're the little workers and we're the ones who get things organized. But that's not where we live. Where we live is in the magical. It's in the unexplainable, you know. It's that, how do I compare Virgo? Virgo, it's like Scream Queens. You know, Chanel Oberlin, right? When she's on top and when she's the mean girl of her, you know, sorority or whatever, and she's, you know, in these beautiful clothes and she's rich and she's popular, she hates it. She is miserable. The reason why she's such a piranha in those social settings is because there is so much pressure on a person who is so wild and who is so, you know, unconventional underneath it all. And yet when she finds herself in a mental asylum after all the events of the first movie, not the first movie, the first season, when she finds herself in a mental health asylum after the first season, she thrives. She is so happy. Her friendships are healing. Like everything's like in this really adverse situation where the bottom seems to have fallen underneath her. She felt like such a glimmer of happiness and being relaxed and having nobody to impress. That is where a Virgo truly thrives. That is where a Virgo is truly happy. When they can just come home and be imperfect and they don't have to think about, you know, oh, does this match or does that match or am I doing this correctly? Like they don't have to think about all that. They can just come home and be cool. And the wonderful thing about that, Virgo, is that that is where you are supposed to be for the next 18 months. Not the entire time. I'm not saying the entire time. But in order for you to live out your destiny and be this, you know, practical, pragmatic person, you got to let yourself like just fall apart a little bit. Not have a full-on mental breakdown or anything, but just give yourself time to connect with the magical, the woo-woo, and the irrational. Because that's where a Virgo truly thrives, when things don't make a lick of sense, right? That's when everything starts to happen for Virgos, when Virgos just abandon, hang on. Yep, got it. You see, when Virgos just abandon all sense of reason, and not we, again, I'm not a Virgo, but when Virgos just abandon all sense of reason and abandon what the right thing is supposed to be, that's when doing the right thing and following that sixth house and taking care of our health, I'm not a Virgo. I keep thinking of the collective reading for the axis. I'm so sorry. But yes, that is when Virgos thrive, right? It's when, in this particular case, Virgos follow, not loss or isolation necessarily, but when Virgo follows the woo-woo, the magical, the irrational, the subconscious, all of these wonderful things, bed and rest and all that type of stuff. When Virgo follows that stuff, especially during this time, that's when they'll start to really fulfill their destiny in meaningful ways that don't end up being chaotic for them. You know what I mean? So yeah, 12th into 6. That's where the money is for you. Now, I'm going to read your notes. And as I read your notes, I'm going to shuffle this deck right here so we can get some cards for you. So for your normal notes, we've got examine the bigger and smaller picture of the productivity in your life. Yeah. So that's the beaver tooth. I was talking about that before. Virgo, productivity might be your destiny, but it's not what brings out the best in you. Okay. It's not what brings out the best in you. And it says hold on. It says being on the path to fulfilling one's purpose, turning everything to gold. So yes, again, it's that 12th house, turning loss and isolation into opportunity, releasing your gifts onto the world. Going to sacred places, going to magical places, all of these things are just so you and so ingrained in who you are. And that's how you become such an expert in how to organize things and it's because you take the things that most people fear and you turn them into gold. And that's exactly what you're going to be doing over the next 18 months. You know what I mean? So yeah, fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. This light keeps going on and off. I keep trying to turn it on because look at this lighting. Look at this lighting, Virgo. I keep trying to turn it on. It keeps turning off on me. I think it's the wiring. But yeah, like this, look at this lighting. It's just beautiful. But then that middle light shuts off. What are you going to do, Virgs? What are you going to do? Okay, so what else have we got from your notes? Okay, so we've got CEO. We've got architecture. We have got improvising, imagination, being a natural, winning easily, success in business, online invitations, burning the candles at both ends. And for your most important notes, which is your really important notes, we've got marketing genius, salesman, and composer. Like I said before, you are honing your craft and you're serious about what you do. And it doesn't matter what other people say. You know what you're doing and you know why you're doing it. And you're having faith in that, which is wonderful. And I love to see it. Okay. Now, whilst I was reading those notes, I was pulling your tarot cards along the way. So I'm going to read these clarifiers and then I'm going to read these clarifiers for you essentially. Okay. Now, there was one particular card that came out earlier before I shuffled the rest of these, and that was the Emperor. The Emperor is usually about order and routine and structure. But actually, when you really look at the Emperor at closer inspection, it's actually about impulse. It's not the wise sage who has figured out how to do everything. It's the emperor who has made the final decision and said, okay, this is what needs to be done now. It's that type of logic. It's that type of reason. So I feel like where you are concerned, you're very much on all systems go. You very much mean business when it comes to what you're doing. Just because you're practicing things and you're honing things and you're making things more skillful, it doesn't mean you're lacking initiative. In fact, you have a lot of initiative. Okay. King of Pentacles. You see, this is what I associate, like Queen of Cups. I associate this card with turning, like with making duty out of pleasure, meaning all the things that people take pleasure in normally, one makes a business out of it. I feel like you are making some serious financial moves based on what you really enjoy doing. I feel like you're taking what you love and you're finding ways to monetize that. And that monetization is going to go very well over the next 18 months. Okay. But here's where it gets interesting. So you're monetizing the things that you enjoy and the things that you really love to do, right? But when it comes to the things that you don't love to do, it's like you're taking the most pleasurable aspects of those things and you're becoming more efficient because of it, right? You're becoming more efficient and you're finding ways around similar problems that you might have had for years, right? Now, with the Queen of Swords, I feel like this isn't really you, but it could be some people that you're dealing with that are just like bitter. But at the same time, you're also going to be dealing with situations that you've been in before, and you're going to handle them very well. That's what I usually get when I get this card. Yeah. Oh, this is what I'm surprised at. Sorry, this is still on. This is what I'm surprised at, right? I'm surprised that this is not you. Do you know what I mean? This is actually not you. I feel like your head's screwed on. Your head is really screwed on here. I feel like this is someone else in your life. I feel like because so many Virgos are switching things up and you're not doing things in the usual way you do them, people are starting to freak out and get worried about it. But it's like you understand why you're making those changes. You looked at these changes from several different angles and you know that this is exactly what you have to do. Even if people don't understand it, even if people don't get it, it's what you have to do and you know it. So you're very grounded in this moment. You're very grounded and you are very much in your power. And it might make people feel threatened. Do you understand what I'm saying? It might make people feel threatened. It might make people feel, like they've lost control over you. And unfortunately, that's not a thing that's like reserved for the narcissists of the world or the abusers of the world. It's actually a very normal and common thing for people to want control over the people they love. And it's not so the people they love can lose at life or anything. It's a codependency thing. When somebody thrives, it means that then they're going to spend less time with the people that they love or the people that love them. And the people that see your savvy and your power as a threat, they don't see your success and your savvy as a threat to them. They see it as a threat to your time together and your relationship. But that's not really your problem, is it? I feel like during this time, you may take a break from some of your relationships. It's not going to be permanent. It's just going to be like a temporary thing. You're just going to, fool around with a few things and see what happens relationship wise. But it's just that when it comes to business, like you're all in. So whoever's going to be in your life, they have to accept that this is your life now. And this is what you're dedicating yourself to. and they can't take it personally, because at the end of the day, you're not focusing on yourself because you hate people. If anything, it's the opposite. It's because right now you want to make sure that you're the best you can be, not only for yourself, but for your loved ones. That's always in the back of your mind. So, Virgo, it's all systems go for the next 18 months, and you're more than equipped to handle it, because, you know, instead of rushing ahead with everything, you're more focused on preparation and on being disciplined than anything else. Okay, so that was for my beautiful Virgos. That was for Uttara Palguni, Hasta, and Chitra. I have been Empress Justice. Thank you so much for being with me, and I will see you in the next one. Peace and blessings. Bye bye.